What's up, YouTube gang? We are back. Advent of Code 2018 Part 2. Let's get it. Amidst the chaos, you notice that exactly one claim doesn't overlap by even a single square inch of fabric with any other claim. If you can somehow draw attention to it, maybe the elves will be able to make Santa's suit after all. For example, in the claims above, only claim 3 is intact after all claims are made. What is the ID of the only claim that doesn't overlap? Although it hasn't changed, you can still get your puzzle input. Okay, so now we have to find the claim ID that did not overlap anything. Okay, no examples to go off of here, except that 3 should be the thing that it returns. So let's try it. So here I'm just gonna duplicate this, make it part 2, and this is all our notes. Hide that. Might want to exit here. So here it used to return 4, now we want it to return 3, and this is the ID of the claim that had no overlap. Okay, so we're still gonna be building the board, but now we don't want to count overlap. What we want to do here, we're building the board, and now we're gonna be checking the board. And instead of overlap, we're gonna go through the claims array again. If you need a reminder of what's inside of each claim variable, you can just run day 2 over here. This is what's inside. So I think we're still going to need this. We're just going to gather the ID, the left and the top margin, the width and the height. And I think we're also going to need this, except we know that the row should exist, and instead of setting one of these values to nil or to an ID or to the letter O, we're just going to be checking for the value of O. So here, if the value of this item in the array matches O, we have found overlap, and if not, we have not found overlap. So here we should make a variable called overlap, and we'll set it to false. And here, if we find overlap, set overlap to true, and then break this loop. And if not, don't do anything. So you don't really need this. And after you finish going through a claim, if overlap, actually just finish running the function. Return ID if overlap. So if we found any overlap, return the ID. See if that works. Alright, instead of returning ID, well, actually you could just print it out here. This function will be returning ID, and then it would be printing it like that. Okay, so here we have 1. Oh wait, we should be checking if no overlap was found. You could either use the bang operator to switch this, or you could say return ID unless overlap. Okay, we're still getting 1, and we're supposed to be getting 3, so this is bad. So here I'm just gonna print out row index and see what I get. So here we have 1 1 0 1 1 0 0 1 1 1 1 1 1. I'm just going to print out some statements, the ID of the claim that we're on. I'm going to print out the element of the row that we're looking at right now. And if there's an overlap, I'm going to print out overlap found. See what that gets me. So here we're on claim number 1, ID 1 1, and then we find 0. We say overlap found, and the problem is it's still running the loop. Let's try this. Maybe the break wasn't working because it was inside of this if statement. But if we put it outside, maybe it'll work. No. See, what it should be doing is it should get to this O, and then it should change overlap to true, and then go on to you should just stop running this loop, and then hit this line, and then go on to the next row. Let's see. I'm going to print out the value of overlap, see what I get. So here we find 1, overlap is false. ID of 1, overlap is false. ID of 0, overlap found, and overlap is true. And then we find 1, and then overlap is false again. Okay, I think the problem is that overlap is false inside of the loop. We have to set overlap false outside the loop. Because here we have false, false, true, then it returns back to false, and then false again. Okay, now we have ID 1, overlap false, false, O, overlap found, and then overlap value changes to true. And then here we still have 1 true, 1 true, 1 true, and then we have ID 2, false, 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 false. I'm gonna print out a row here. See if that helps me figure out some stuff. ID 1 row looks like this, and we just want to look at this one, this one, this one, and this one. We see 1 here, overlap false, 1 here, overlap false. We find O, overlap is true, and we go to the next row. And then we start looking again. 1, overlap is true, we skip to the next row. 1, overlap is still true, we skip to the next row. 1. Okay, so the problem now is that we're successfully breaking this loop if overlap is true, but we should also break this outer loop if overlap is true. Because right now we're running unnecessary checks. We already know that we found an overlap, so we don't need to keep going and keep checking more rows. Okay, so now we have claim number 1. The row looks like this. Can I fix this? Okay, that looks a little better now. So here the ID is 1. The row looks like this, and the item number 1, overlap is false. 1, overlap still false. We find an O right here that changes the value of overlap to true, and then we switched over to claim number 2. Nil, 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 2, 2, 2, 2. So for these 4 2s, overlap stays false, and then we hit a new row, and here we have 2, 2, 2, 2. All those 2s are not the string O, so we get 4 falses here, and we move on to the next row, and it looks like nil, 1, 1, O, O, 2, 2. And here the item is the string of O, and that changes the value of overlap true. And then we move over to claim 3. And here we have nil, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 3. We look at this 3 over here, and we see that no overlap was found. We check the next one, no overlap is found again. We move on to the next row. We check this one, and it's not an O. So overlap is still false, and here overlap is still false, and then the method finishes running. Okay, so now that we've gotten an overlap of the whole claim, we should return outside of this loop. We should stop running this top level each if we found overlap, or if we didn't find overlap because of this unless. Because see, there's lots of loops here. There's a loop in here which checks the item. There's a loop in here which just gets the row, and then there's a loop in here which wraps around everything and it represents the entire claim. So now that we set overlap to false outside of these 2 inner loops, and so after we've run through all the things here, we'll return ID if overlap equals false. If no overlap was found. Here, let's just change this. Return ID if no overlap was found. Okay, we're getting a lot of printing. Let's turn all the printing off. Here we have a print. And here we get 3. That's what we wanted out. So I think we have a good function. Let's change this up a little bit. We say if overlap equals false, put ID and return. See if that does anything. Okay, now we can get rid of this print. 3. Okay, now I think we're ready to run the big boy. And now we get 877. Let's see if that's the correct answer that they're looking for. 877, submit. That's the right answer. You are 1 gold star closer to fixing the time stream. Oh shoot, I forgot to start the timer, but I will just look at the video and see how long it took for me to solve this thing. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a good night.